Every Mario Kart game has its own gimmick. Mario Kart 8 had anti-gravity. Double Dash had 2 riders in 1 cart. And Super Circuit was, well, I don't know what that was. But all of these gimmicks serve as a jump-off point for the direction each game takes, and also to sell the game to potential consumers. So in today's video, let's take a look at a few ideas for a potential Mario Kart 9. Adventure Mode. I imagine going around racing bad guys, having cutscenes, a story almost similar to Subspace Emissary, but more goofy and lighthearted because it's Mario Kart. But I think an adventure mode or a big single-player campaign could be a really interesting addition to the Mario Kart series. Then next is something taken directly from Kirby Air Ride, the City Trial Mode. Having an open world-esque area to just drive around and have fun in Mario Kart would be absolutely insane and amazing. Next is a track builder. Now, obviously, this would need much better moderation than what we have in Smash, but I could just imagine driving around on the most goofy courses imaginable, all super boosted. Some are completely in the air with just the pipes shooting air in the air, or even just creative tracks built by people. I think a track builder is something that we could see basically at any time. They just need to pull the trigger. Next is a shrinking and growing mechanic. Now, visually, this would kind of look like Ribbon Road or Tiny Huge Island, but basically you'd be able to shrink and grow depending on whether you'd like to take shortcuts that require you to shrink or, grow. But if you were shrunk, you'd also get crushed by bigger racers. And then, obviously when you grow, you can just run over. I think that'd be kind of neat. Next is another feature taken directly out of Smash Bros. Stage Morph, I think, is one of the most underrated features from Super Smash Bros. Ultimate, and I think could honestly translate super well to Mario Kart. If you don't know what Stage Morph is, basically it's where you pick 2 stages and then halfway through the fight, it switches to the other one. I think this would be really neat, but it could even work better in Mario Kart by after each lap, a new track is used. So, maybe the first round you drive around in Mario Circuit, and then the next one is Rainbow Road, and then the next one is Big Blue. Well, actually, Big Blue wouldn't work because it's a point-to-point track and not a lap track, but you kind of get the point. Next is the shifting courses we've seen from the tour tracks. If you don't know, Mario Kart Tour has many different layouts for tracks, but when they got ported to Mario Kart 8 Deluxe, they were all kind of morphed into the shifting course where, the first lap you go in one direction, and then the next lap the arrows change and you go in a different direction because the map was used for different types of that course. I think it'd be super neat if almost all of the courses in the game were kind of like this, where, each lap adds something different to the overall race. Next, what if we got a Super Smash Bros. Ultimate of Mario Kart? I call it Retro Rush. Bring back every single character, every single track, well, I guess this is kind of just the Mario Kart 8 Booster Course Pass, but still an interesting idea. Now, most of you may not know this, but originally the gimmick for Mario Kart 8 was supposed to be a drill instead of anti-gravity. This would have let you drive under the course and get shortcuts throughout. I think this would have been very interesting, but also very hard to implement. If they still want to do it, I think it's a really cool idea, but I don't see it as very likely, but still, I think it would be very interesting if we could, just drill through the courses and get to the other side. But I don't see it as very likely, so let's move on. Another grandiose idea, similar to Retro Rush, but I think is more likely, is Nintendo Kart. I know everybody kind of wants Mario Kart to stay as Mario Kart and have, stay pure to the series, but I think having Nintendo Kart opens up so many more possibilities for the series. Not only do we get more characters from throughout Nintendo's history, but you can also get more tracks like Big Blue that are just amazing. I think opening up the floodgates for Nintendo series to, have more influence over the Mario Kart series is a good idea in my opinion, but, maybe that's just me. Now, listen to this. What if we had Sidekicks? Before each race, you go through and, you pick your kart, you pick your tires, your glider, but you also pick your sidekick. Your sidekick has a special ability that can be used at any point during the race. So, let's say Cappy from Super Mario Odyssey. If you've got Cappy with you, you can throw it at another racer and then take control of their kart for a certain amount of time. Or, you could have Luma, where they shoot star bits at another player and make them slow down. Or you could even have Flood, who use the turbo nozzle to shoot water in front of you so you can get a speed boost. I think Sidekicks is a super interesting idea that I could totally see Nintendo utilizing. Now, a more online-centric idea I have is racing clubs. Similar to the, Mario Kart Strikers Battle League, where, you could have your own club. I think a racing club would be super interesting where you can, make your own emblem to put on the front of the car, similar to Mario Kart DS. But you also know just more socialization within Mario Kart. I think maybe there's like weekly races where your team goes up against another team for a versus battle where you try and get the most points. That would be super neat. And speaking of an online focus, what if we see daily challenges where you have to go do a certain amount of things in online races, and then at the end you get like a reward similar to like, you know, a battle pass. Okay, now this one is gonna be very controversial, but it's an idea I had and I still wanted to bring it up. You had to take a pit stop during a race. Okay, I know, this is Mario Kart, not Formula 1 or whatever, but you know, in the middle of the race, you have to take a pit stop, and then you have to do like a little mini game to like replace your tires and then go back out on the track. Maybe that's like too much integration from like real life, but you know, or maybe you get hit, maybe you have a meter of how many times you've been hit during a race by items, and you have to go, you know, to take a pit stop. But also that does hinder people who've already been hit by a lot of items in a race, so maybe that isn't it. But I think a pit stop would be super interesting, but I'm not sure exactly how they did. Now, another idea I had is for you to be able to upgrade your cart items through a shop mechanic. So, you know, maybe you don't get coins, you know, directly from the races like you do in Mario Kart 8, but instead you get coins from like, you know, winning races or winning Grand Prix, and then after that you go to like a shop and then you can like upgrade your items, you know, like if you have the slick tires, maybe you upgrade them to the cyber slick tires. I don't know if those are any better, but maybe in this version they are a little better. I don't know, I think that'd be kind of neat. But another mode idea I have is asymmetrical multiplayer. If you don't know asymmetrical multiplayer, it's similar to, you know, like, I hate to say it, but Among Us, or you know, that one mode in Mario Party 10 where like one person's Bowser and everybody else is like another thing. Basically, one player has a little bit more knowledge or power, and then the other group is like, you know, is weaker but is stronger because, you know, it's a collective. So maybe one person plays as Bowser during a race and they're in a monster truck. They're a little bit faster. If they run over you, you know, you get spun out. But the team as a collective is able to slow them down with items and, you know, etc. So I think this could be like similar to a battle mode, but it's also like a race. I think that would be kind of fun, but I don't know. I think I need to workshop that a little bit more. The next thing is, what if we just got like a first person mode where you play like in first person from the cart? Maybe you could even just add that as one of the camera angles, because I know you can like click the back arrow to like see behind you in a race, which is a little bit more helpful than being in first person. But I don't know, what if everybody's in first person, they have to drive around like that? I think it would cause more crashes, and I think, I don't know, it'll be kind of interesting. Next is attachments, and these are similar to like power-ups, but you know, you add them before the beginning of the race. You go through, you pick again your cart, your tires, your glider, but you can add an attachment to either one of those three. And you can buy these from like, you know, say a shop where like you add a nitro booster where once per race you use basically a mushroom to like, you know, cut a corner without actually getting an item. Or tires where if you're like on a slippery course or something like that, where you won't be slipping and sliding because you'll have more grip. You'll add more traction stats to your actual tires. You could add any of those attachments to your carts, and I think that would add more strategic elements to Mario Kart, which I think would be kind of cool, even though it's like technically a party game. Vehicle transformations. Okay, if you guys have ever played Diddy Kong Racing, something that I think we could see added is like, you know, boats, airplanes, ATVs. I know we have like the glider and we can drive underwater, but I'd like to like drive on the water, like on a jet ski or something like that, where we can just get like more terrain to race on. I guess it is Mario Kart, but not everything has to be in a kart. My next idea is similar to an adventure mode, but is more realistic, I say. A career mode. Imagine you have to get sponsorships to get better kart parts. You've got to climb the league to win points to win the cup or something like that. I think that'd be really neat. And then year after year, you can like maybe add more racers to your team. You know, we really don't have much single player content in Mario Kart right now, besides going through and winning every single Grand Prix, which, you know, is classic Mario Kart. There's nothing bad with that. But I think maybe like a career mode or a franchise mode would be kind of interesting, but we'll just have to wait and see. Next is something that I think is, you know, not very likely, but would be like an interesting mode. What if we got like a freestyle mode? If you guys have ever seen like Monster Jam, basically freestyle mode is where you got like 2 minutes to do like the coolest tricks in the arena, like jump off of like different things. You maybe have to like jump through hoops or something, or if you got like points for doing this thing, I think it would be an interesting like mode they could add. It definitely wouldn't be like a main gimmick in my mind, but I think freestyle mode would be kind of interesting. Over the history of Mario Kart, the amount of players in each race has been upped gradually over time from 8 to 12. And the natural progression would say it would go to 18 next, but what if we just doubled the amount of racers and made it 24? I think it'd be super hectic and chaotic. I think it would be a super, super fun idea. We're already at that amount of characters, and I don't know. Maybe this is a little bit goofy, but I think 24-player races would be super fun, and even imagine doing that with like your friends online. That'd be super sick. Next is an idea that actually comes from Mario Kart Tour. What if we got backwards mode, where like it's similar to like mirror mode, but instead of mirror, you race the track backwards. It would add so much more content to the game with a super minimal amount of effort. All you need to do is like add ramps where you weren't able to get from one place to another, and you're golden. Next, what if we got a relay mode where the first lap of a race you race, and then the second lap of the race it switches off to your teammate or your friend or somebody, and the third lap it's somebody else. I think a relay race would be super interesting, and I think it'd be fun like party mode, honestly, but a relay race would be actually kind of cool. Now, this is similar to like a fighting game where you build up enough power throughout a race. You have an ultimate, which is like your ultimate item or just like an ultimate move where you can attack players on the course. I think it'd be super neat if there's like a little meter, and then every time you hit somebody with an item, your meter goes up, and then if you hit them a certain amount of times, you get to use your ultimate on all the players. You could have Inkling with a Booyah Bomb. There's so many cool ideas for this that I think would add to the gameplay of Mario Kart incredibly. Now here's an idea that actually kind of comes directly from Double Dash, but Double Dash main gimmick was 2 players in 1 cart, and with this idea, we're giving a unique item to each character in the game, which was from Double Dash. But, there's so many more characters in Mario Kart now that there's so many more ideas for items that we could add. And we don't even need Mario and Luigi to both have fireballs now that they're not going to be in the same cart. Like, I could easily imagine Luigi with like a poltergust. I could easily imagine Isabelle with a slingshot. There's so many ideas for items from different characters that there's just too many to add to this video. But we do have this video right here where we gave every single series in Smash Ultimate a new item. You should go check it out.